Good afternoon. In these brief remarks, I'd like to tell you a little bit about Techshot and mention a few examples of our work. We're founded in 1988. We're a technology and product development company with a pretty diverse set of customers. Altogether, 7 space shuttle missions we've developed and integrated payloads for, 3 suborbital rocket flights, several sorties of parabolic flight aircraft. You can see one of our engineers on the Weightless Wonder flying with a payload for NASA. We have 25 mechanical, electrical, and software engineers on staff, permanent full-timers, plus a scientific staff that helps us. Frankly, we think the engineering turns out a lot better whenever you have scientists in the loop. So many of you know our chief scientist, Dr. Paul Todd, past president of the American Society for Gravitational and Space Biology. It's part of what gives Techshot, I think, a unique advantage. Besides the space shuttle payloads, we also develop for life scientists vestibular research equipment, automated laboratory equipment, medical devices, that sort of thing. Next slide, please. We've built payloads for STS-51L, 29, 57, 60, 77, 95, and 108. Next slide. A few of the facilities that we've developed that I want to mention specifically would include the Avian Development Facility, as it was known when it was initially built as part of the Space Station Biological Research Project. We've developed several additional applications for it besides caring for avian embryos. If you'll hit that first bullet there. And you can just go ahead and do the rest on that page if you will. Now we might even call it perhaps the Advanced Development Facility rather than Avian Development Facility. You could take out the egg cups. We had 36 Japanese quail embryos incubating in this completely automated payload on STS-108, but now we can replace those sample containers with cell culturing vessels, containers that could hold plants, Drosophila, fish, any number of model organisms that you'd like to fly on an instrument that has 2 internal centrifuges. So you can have one group as a control group, the other one we can spin at 77.3 RPMs to give it a 1G gravity feel, and of course you can do fractional G studies with it as well. We think it's a really, really versatile piece of equipment. It's NASA owned. We have 2 identical flight units at Ames, and we'd love to see those fly again. Next slide, please. The ADSEP locker, as we call it, again with acronyms. Initially, we developed it as an advanced separations facility. Now, perhaps we could call it the Advanced Space Experiment Processor. The great advantage here is that you can take the basic locker up and leave it on station. Inside are 3 independent thermal zones, and you would just transport the cassettes back and forth to station. And each cassette can process a number of different types of experiments. You can see them listed there, from cell culturing to protein crystal growth, various separations techniques, C. elegans studies, bacteria studies. When you take the cassette, as Senator Glenn did for us on STS-95, and just put it into the locker, the box knows what kind of experiment it's supposed to conduct, and it ramps the temperature up and down, starts the pumps, does everything it knows it needs to do. And then when you complete it, you take the cassette back out and put it in storage, whatever you need, thermal controlled storage or not. But the box node does all the work. Again, it's flight proven, and we're ready to see that fly again as well. That's a piece of Techshot owned equipment. Next slide, please. An example of one of the types of cassettes that you can put into the ADSEP unit. cell cult. Cell cult has a rotating wall bioreactor internally there. All the pumps and valves are all shuttle pumps, pinch valves. Your experiment, the fluids never touch any of the actual pumps or valves. And you can collect samples at multiple times during the mission. You can add medium, you could add a fixative. It's a really versatile piece of equipment as well. And you could build multiple units and conduct many different experiments within the locker itself, rather than if you have a university or a company that wants to get into space processing, no need to sponsor the entire locker if all you need is just a cassette. Next slide. Same form factor here, basically, with this fluid processing cassette. We built this to be able to not only operate within the ADSEP locker, but also function on its own if you wanted to take it up in a Progress vehicle or in a Dragon or any other launch vehicle. Just the cassette can be operated with an extra little switching pack, battery pack that can snap onto the side, and then it can be stowed in thermal carriers that are already on station or returned. So again, it can operate autonomously. C. elegans studies again, and also the bacteria studies. A lot of things you can do with a bag processing piece of equipment. Next slide. Some of the services that we do besides building the equipment, we've always trained every crew member that's operated our devices. All the integration services we're very skilled at doing, as well as if you know NASA paperwork, it needs to be quite extensive. Our last shuttle payload weighed 70 pounds. It was a mid-deck payload, and the safety verification and integration paperwork weighed 470 pounds for one flight of one payload. And so our threshold of pain is pretty high for that, but we were very pleased to be trusted with that responsibility to complete the integration paperwork. And the FDA doesn't scare us. Probably what's more significant here is what you haven't seen, because if you didn't see something here that appeals to you and your work, we have a lot of other things at Techshot, and really our hallmark is building things that don't exist. Innovation is the #1 reason why any company hires us. We sort of look to Soichiro Honda, who created the whole Honda empire. He said that engineering is imagination made real and useful. What do you need? We'll build it. And that's really sort of our philosophy at Techshot as well. What do you need? We'll build it. With a terrific engineering team representing every discipline, we haven't found much that we couldn't take on. Besides NASA, we're also very successful developing products and technologies for the U.S. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, NOAA, DARPA, NSF, NIH, as well as commercial companies like Procter & Gamble, the Coca-Cola Company, ICX Griffin Analytical, and many, many, many small and mid-sized companies. We serve as the traditional product developer for those sorts of companies. We've actually even spun off a couple of companies of our own, one that develops and markets a medical device that started as a technology in Senator Glenn's hand. If you've seen the 2008 version of NASA's spin-off book, Icotech, our spin-off company, and the ADSEP locker are in the book as a great example of how space technology can end up helping folks in their everyday lives. And this medical device is particularly geared at diabetes therapeutics. So Techshot is a terrific engineering company that brings a lot of experience from a lot of different fields and brings them all to bear for you. I encourage you to come by and see us. We're also in the Steuben room. We can see some of this equipment firsthand, and we can answer any questions you might have. Thanks a lot.